welcome back to our Two Homeschool Moms Podcast. We are on episode 2, where we're going to dive into why we homeschool, what are our personal reasons, and we're going to get nitty gritty here, and we're going to really talk about our why and if we see ourselves continuing to homeschool for the long haul. So let's get started.
Yeah. So do you want to do a little quick update since we haven't really talked? Like, how was your weekend? What kind of stuff did you do? And
Yes, we had a bit of a rough night on Friday, or I should say that might have been Saturday. I don't know, my days are so mixed up because we've been sick and it's just been not one of these weekend days. We kind of had like an off day. My mom took Molly and they went to do some like errands, so I got some time to myself, which was kind of nice. And she had kind of a bad day. She cut her like right up here,
just like
yep.
up. Oh,
not like ever down here. Of course not.
No.
It's got to be like right at the top.
Yep.
I tried not to have a mini meltdown and be angry, but that didn't work out so well.
It's not easy.
Oh my gosh, I lost my crap. Can we swear on here? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think it will be marked as explicit, but there might be some words that come out in these. So, and this is a mom conversation too. So everyone should be aware that we are two moms expressing mom feelings. We are not here talking to children.
Yes. So I lost my shit.
Yep.
And then I pulled it together.
Good job.
And realized it's just freaking hair and it will grow back.
It will grow back.
And then I messaged my cousin, who's not really my cousin. She's like my cousin's cousin who cuts our hair. And I was like, tell me what to do. And she's like, you don't do anything. She's like, you just gotta let it grow out. She's like, part it different or like braid it over.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So she had a few, selective words about how she was feeling, and not to get too personal for her own, privacy, but like she was just not having a good time. I think she's in an in-between age where she's not sure she's trying to figure out who she is, how to fit in, how to be herself, how to transition from playing with toys to not really playing with toys anymore, and how to occupy her time and how to find things that make her happy, because the things that used to make her happy aren't as exciting anymore. She used to be my book nerd, and now she's not reading even as much, and I think she's
no.
I know, it's breaking my heart.
Oh, it breaks my heart.
And I think she'll get back there.
Mm-hmm.
I just think right now she's just in this weird, I don't know what to do with myself thing other than be on a device.
Right.
And that's not going to happen all day, every day. So just this weird transitional down period, I think. And then I think she really regretted cutting her hair, threw her into another spiral. So I had a talk with my mom, and we decided to kind of just take her out and give her a distraction. We every year, twice a year actually, we go to our cemetery, and not our cemetery, but we go to the cemetery where all of our family has been buried. So
they're all at the same one?
Everyone is at the same one except my dad.
Okay.
By the time my dad had passed, for whatever reason, there were no openings in the area of the cemetery that we wanted to bury him. So I was 12 then. So he's the only one that's not in the cemetery with everyone else. So we go out and we usually take grass cutters and clear all the gravestones. We have, I think there's 20. I'm talking I've done this since I was a little tiny kid. I learned how to drive in a cemetery, by my grandma. My grandma would go with her sisters, and they would go to their parents and their parents' parents, and they would just clear and clean them. And they would either leave flowers or some kind of seasonal thing for them. So we go in the spring and then we go in the winter. And so we always go for Christmas, and we make signs. Usually we buy cutesy signs from the dollar store, and we attach a piece of wood on them to dig in the ground. And so we've done a multitude of things over the years. The flowers always get destroyed. I mean, everything gets destroyed with the weather, but like, we try to just do something to show our, love to our loved ones who have passed on. And Molly has helped doing this since she was little, and she loves it. Like, we put candy canes on them, on the graves, and just like kind of, tell them Merry Christmas, and, we miss them and whatnot. And we managed to do it this year in like record time because it just rained.
Oh.
So the ground was very soft. And so it was very easy to like stick things in the ground. We actually got rained on a lot of the time too, but it was just something to pull us out of our funk. So we just got that done, visited them all, and said our prayers, which aren't really prayers, just well wishes. And then we went to a movie. We went and saw the new Wish movie, which was pretty cute.
Yeah.
She really liked it. It was just okay for me.
Yeah,
I like the concept behind it, but for like the musical aspect of it wasn't like, it's no Moana, like it's not.
Right,
It's not
I
like
love Moana.
It's not the catchy.
Yeah.
It's not the catchy songs, in my opinion, but it was good, and we had a good time, and it was family time, and it just kind of distracted us from everything that was going on. And honestly, it worked because she's been in a way better mood since then.
Yeah, that's what I have to do. So Molly reminds me of Emma, my oldest. Like the things that I went through a few years ago is I think what you're going through. So yeah, Emma cut her hair more than once. She's even done it to this day, and it makes me insane. But also I'm like, you live with it. If you cut it, I'm not paying to get it fixed.
Yeah.
But she'll get in these like very just kind of like bad day, or just not the great, you don't want to be around them when they're acting like that, to be honest. And so with her, I found like volunteering or helping others was like the way to pull her out, the way for us to connect, because you can't be in like a bad mood when you're doing something like that. Like, it's impossible. When you like really realize like your situation is not that serious. And I think that's what they need to like kind of understand. And you go do whatever for someone else, it really like helps build to that. And that's what we do. So we haven't volunteered a lot because around the holidays, it's a little overwhelming because that's when everyone volunteers. And so we do it normally throughout the year, just, packing groceries for people who need food, like, packing them like little meal kits. It's so simple, but like those people like appreciate it. They get like full meals every week that we can give them. Or we have a Ronald McDonald's house here where there's parents who their kids are at our hospitals going through like long-term treatments. And so the parents are staying at the house. And so you can like go there and you can make like desserts. So you make like 200 cookies and like bag them up. And then all the families that are there get like home cooked food, even though they're out of town, traveling. So definitely a way to deal with hard times, some attitude shifts during those fun ages that we go through. And so that was nice.
Yeah,
what you guys did.
I could say it's different when they're dead.
Yeah.
But like, it gives you a moment to tell a story about a relative they never met, or just something to like imprint in their mind about this person. And, because she made a comment, well, I don't want to go. These people aren't my family. Like, they were all dead before, I was born. And it's like, yeah, but they're still your family. And like, maybe one day you'll get to meet them again. And how cool is that to already know who they are?
Yeah.
As we can talk about them and pay our respect. So it was different, but it was a well-needed break. But I'm like writing all of those ideas down too, because I want to go do more volunteer work with her, because I think she's definitely the empath and the type of person to go do that. So yeah, we should have a whole other like separate video of us talking about like our experiences for that.
Yeah, we can do that. And then like I was telling you, there's a website where you put in your zip code and it will tell you all the opportunities. So yeah, we can make a whole episode on those. But what you did, I have it writing down. So all of my grandparents are still alive. All of my parents are still alive. So I really have not myself even dealt with death. All of my great grandparents passed away before I was born. or very, very young. So I've only been to like one funeral my entire life. And we do have someone probably soon in the next few years that will probably be passing away. And so it'll be the first time for me that it's like an immediate person. And then it will be my kid's first time too. And I'm just like, yeah, what do we do? Because we don't have that either. Like a grave site where multiple people are. Like I wouldn't even know where people are, to be honest, that have passed away. So
yeah, I mean, I've lost a ton of people in my life. I've lost great aunts and uncles and my grandma and my dad, lots of family, friends, family relatives and stuff like that, of, you know, extended family and stuff like that. We've gone on trips for friends who have passed or had loved ones pass. So it's definitely not new, and I don't want to come off as saying like we're used to it. Like we're not used to it. You'll never get used to attending a funeral or a wake or whatever, but it does, like it makes your experience less traumatic, I think, when you do it and have done it many times. Because even now, like Molly has no problem going up there saying whatever she wants to say. Aww. It's like it just becomes this weirdly thing you know how to do. And you know how to deal with. Honestly, I didn't even see any like graveyards when we were over there.
They're rare, to be honest. There is one. Okay, so let me tell you, and not to make like a joke of it, but there is a big one right across where my mother-in-law lives, like a very large one. She takes the kids there for like a field trip. And so they will walk around and read like the gravestones and clean them up if, you know, there's trash or whatever. And it's so not funny, but my kids loved it. And like they like remembered, like I think there's one area specific where children passed away.
Yeah. We have that
I'm
too.
like sitting here like crying, just even hearing it. And my kids are like, yeah, they were alive from this year to this year. And this is what happened. And we made sure we cleaned up like the area. And I'm just like, whoa, like I would be a wreck.
Right.
So we have them. They're just rare.
My dad is buried across from one of those areas with a lot of kids. But he's in a newer cemetery. And so the other ones are in older cemeteries. So there's some like old graves in there. If we really wanted to go out and like look, I'm sure it would be like some in the 1800s, or at least
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you figure my grandma was born in 1926, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
So like that's old too. And like, I know that cemetery was there way before that. So.
Right. Yeah. Like I didn't think we were going to be talking about cemeteries for so long, but here we are. So let's change the subject, get on a lighter note, because I'm all emotional now.
Right. So let's just completely change the subject into why do you homeschool? What are your whys? I'm curious.
So I'll definitely jump in. So I do have public school experience. So Emma went to public school up until her second grade year. And when you don't realize, I guess, until you homeschool that your kids are with a stranger more often than they are with you. And this is no hate on any teachers. I absolutely loved some of the teachers they have. But when you count the hours of how long they go to school, how much homework they have, if you're a working parent or if you have another parent who's not there when they get home from school, they spend more time at this place. And we really don't know what goes on at this place. We don't know what's being taught. We don't know what peers are telling them, what teachers are telling them. I mean, everyone, I'm sure, has seen news and has seen what happens at like school board meetings. And so I was kind of refreshed when COVID sent everybody home because we got a glimpse into that. We got a glimpse into the curriculum. We got a glimpse into how teachers handle 25 kids. And honestly, I don't think that's great, especially for young kids. Like, I don't know how they do it. It makes no sense to me. So I think the control and it's not that I want my kids to be sheltered, but I want them to have the right information being passed to them also. So like, I want to be able to discuss with them if they hear something crazy.
If we just say that there's a teacher who you don't know if they're even going to tell you everything that's being said. So like,
Right.
that's just a whole other level of it too.
That's one reason, I think, just to like be able to like, what is it, like keep them kids younger, like keep them innocent a little bit longer. And I do think that the homeschool community does a better job. It's not perfect. There's still some questionable things that happen,
Right.
but there is a better, because I think parents are just more involved. So like,
Right.
they're just more aware of what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Maybe.
I agree.
So that's one reason. And then I think the other, I don't,
just say
I don't, well, I don't think that school is the place for kids to learn about sex, gender. That's where I'll leave it. That is not something I believe should be in schools. That is a family conversation, a family subject that needs to be brought. And I think there's just like too much of that in schools. So that's another big thing is school should be education to me. It's not I don't know. That's how I feel.
And this is, yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. This could be a whole episode, honestly, but because I have so many thoughts regarding this, and it's not like we are not supportive to other people. There's just, I don't know. School's just not the place. And, you know, if you think about it, like what school was truly intended for when it first started to become a thing was to have like ethics in work, you know, because that was the intent and why school became a thing in the first place, is so that you were taught how to eventually be able to get in a line of like
factory
whatever.
job. Right.
Yeah. So like if we go back to that, is that the appropriate thing if we're looking at it in that perspective? And I'm not saying that the reason it was developed in the first place is a good reason either for kids and stuff like that. But let's just come to the conclusion that school and the way that school has been done for some time is outdated.
Yes.
And that there definitely need to be some changes and some better things implemented for schools to go that route.
And that's what it boils down to, is schools are trying to let kids be more independent. Right. And that's not the place for them to do that.
Right.
I mean, not in the sense of like making adult decisions.
Right.
That's not
in second grade.
Yeah, right. Like they're not there yet. Right. That's not what's happening. But yes, so that's a good one too to talk about, is why schools were originally created, because that's another reason too. Like I think it kind of blocks like creative thinking and like thinking outside the box. Like you go to school and you think you have to work like an 8 to 5 job. Like I think it kind of cuts you off from like starting your own business or like starting your own, like being creative with stuff. So we could totally talk about that. Have you read the book by John Gatto or Gatto? He was a public school teacher in New York. He actually won Teacher of the Year. He was like one of the best teachers for like 20 years. And he wrote a book just saying like how awful the school system is. So it's kind of ironic. Like he was praised that he was such a great teacher, and he turned around and he's like, it's outdated. It's a different system than what we need now. Like we, you know.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the times they're failing kids in a lot of areas. But I don't want to get hooked on that topic, because I feel like that could be a whole other rabbit hole we can dive down separately. Are there any other like specific whys that you wanted to homeschool?
I'll probably get into more maybe in different episodes, like on specific things. But what about you? Do you have any like front and center reasons why?
So when I grew up, I was an only child too. So my mom was pretty much the breadwinner, as my dad was often sick. So he, was always out of work or whatever. And so my grandma practically was my babysitter. It was the person who picked me up from school and kind of just like wholeheartedly raised me on the side while my mom and dad had whatever they were doing going on. Not to say that was bad. It was great.
Right.
My grandma and I had very different personalities and we clashed a lot, but I think it's just because we were so close and we like loved each other so much. But it created this environment that I have so many memories from, and I wanted that so bad for Molly and I. Like, I didn't get to have that with my mom because she had no choice but to be the breadwinner for our family, and especially after my dad died. So I would tell Josh all the time, I'm like, I really wish I could have that, relationship with her where I get to see all of the things that she's doing and accomplishing, and I get to be the one to help her along the way accomplish it. And when we decided to homeschool, it just clicked where I was like, oh my gosh, I can be that for her. And if she is going to be my only, which at this point in time, it seems like that is the case, we're probably not going to have any more kids. And I want to be selfish and just spend the time that I can have with her. And you'll love teaching Nico how to read because then you can say you taught him how to read. And that was something that was huge for me. That was such a achievement. And it's so cool to sit alongside your kid and just not only learn with them, because let's face it, we don't remember half of the stuff that we learned in school either. So we're kind of learning alongside them, and it's really fun, and it builds this bond and relationship that there's not the hustle and bustle of the pickup lines that you hear horror stories on. And it's the slowing it down and just focusing on what's important and not having her be in school all day, every day, in things that I know for a fact she's not going to remember later in life, and just trying to find the what's important and what's not, and catering it to her and her needs and her desires. If she really wants to learn something, we could totally spend a week, 2 weeks and learn it. I love the customizable. Customizational.
I like customizable. I like that one.
Just how you can customize it, and the freedom to get up and go whenever we want and take a trip whenever we want. And I see all these moms asking if they can pull their kids to go to Disney, and I just I laugh because I'm wow.
Yeah.
That's a thing for people who have their kids in school. Whereas I don't have to ever worry about that because I could just take it with me if I really wanted to, or we could just take the break and adjust our schedule. It's so nice to have that freedom and to have the bond and relationship that you build, because there's not this, I want to see my kid. I don't want to pick her up at 3, send her to basketball practice or dance and all these things, have her come home, rush through dinner and homework and say goodnight, I love you.
Yeah.
I didn't want that lifestyle, and I hated that for myself when I was growing up. Yes, I love to be in sports and stuff like that. That's not what I'm saying, but I didn't get as much time with my mom or my parents. So that was just kind of a big thing in the back of my head that really pushed me and still continues to push me to homeschool. I am going to be selfish and I'm just going to take that time.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I saw something and it said we only have 18 summers with our kids if we're lucky, before they're adults and can make their own decisions.
Yeah.
And so that's 18 school years, and we're already 5 down through that, or 4 down from that. And so that's something to think about. We lose a lot of time, or people lose a lot of time sending their kids to public school every day.
Yeah, and there's no saying that you won't get more time with them, but you never know. You never know how many years, if they're going to move out and never come back. You have no idea what the future holds. I'm lucky because I live with, my mom we all live together. So it's, I always get my mom. But not everybody does. And, you hope that you raise your kid to one day leave the nest and be, explore their life. Not saying that I didn't do that, because I do, but it's just a different dynamic.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm raising them to, I don't know yet. I go back and forth because I'm we'll just have one big house and then I'll just homeschool all your kids. And they go back and forth. Sometimes Emma's like, no, Mom, the second I can graduate high school, I'm going to college. I'm moving across the country. And then last night she was sending me houses on Zillow. She's like, if you buy this house, I'll live with you forever. I was like,
she can move to Chicago. And that way I know you'll visit her all the time. And, because we, want to visit more, but we can't.
Yes. Yeah, we just need to be neighbors. We just need to figure out how we could just have like a connecting
I
house.
know. And Molly was telling us, like, if there was one, like, wish she could have from watching this Wish movie. And she's like, I wish we had a farm.
Aw, yes.
And I was like, oh, I wish we had a farm too.
Me too. We'll all wish it and manifest it, and then
right. That's what she's doing right now. She's building a farm on Animal Crossing.
I love it.
Or maybe in Minecraft. I'm not sure which one she's working on, but
I have another game she can play. Like, it's a legit farm game, and she'll love it.
Oh, she'll love it. She loves animals. Yeah. She's solely that kind of girl. So do you see yourself like continuing to homeschool for the long haul?
Yeah, I mean, that's the plan. I definitely, though, I'm setting my kids up for either option, though. So if the choice was ever where they would go back to school for whatever reason, I'm making sure that what we're doing in our homeschool would allow for that. So we're not as, I would say, loose of like an unhomeschooler, because I'm constantly staying up to date with our state rules. Like if I were to need to re-enroll them in school, what would they need to be doing? So yes, we want to stay homeschooling, but I'm also planning if that's not in the cards for whatever reason.
You're just covering your bases.
Yeah, because you would never know. I mean, 5 years ago, if you would ask me if I was going to homeschool, I would have been like, no. But here we are. And I don't know what our life has for us in the future. I mean, I could be called tomorrow and say, you need to go to work or you need to travel more. And that would definitely, leave some discussions open. So what about you?
Yes, I don't see any other way, but at the same time, I do have like periods of time, especially having an only child, where I'm just like, would it just be easier to send her and put her in environments where she's constantly around kids her age? And it's not even really for like the actual like learning aspect.
Right.
It's more just like to have more friends and like, I guess that's the one thing that was like hit or miss with me in school. I feel like I either had really good friends or I had ones that just like didn't care regardless whether they were friends with me. Mm-hmm. And because she suffers so much with anxiety, that's really the thing that always brings me back in, is because I know that would amp up her anxiety. Yeah. Just the whole thing, the school, everything. And I don't think it would go very well for her. And I don't think that they would have catered to that to be able to help her, because we did actually get her tested. I was getting her tested for another reason, but they actually academically tested her and she came out like well ahead of her grade level at the time. Mm-hmm. And they told me that like, because she has anxiety, she could get an IEP. Right. But that basic, or not even an IEP, but it was like a 504 or something, whatever that was. But it would basically say that she didn't have to be timed on test. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, but I don't have to test her at home. I don't have to time anything. I don't have to put the like pressure on her right now. I mean, even as you go, like it's not like it's building you for a work environment where you have to like time yourself in 30 seconds to do something. You know what I mean?
Which doesn't exist. Like that's not...
Right, it's not a thing. I mean, you may have like timelines where you have to submit and do assignments by, but that's not like a time test, you know? Like, so yeah, I don't see us doing that. And I would hate to just like at this point throw her into like a middle school at some point.
Oh God.
Like, that's like the worst.
Throwing it to the wolves.
Yes, especially for someone who's not had a school-like experience before. So I'm like, no, I mean, as long as, I evaluate it every year. Let's just put it that way. Every school year, me and my husband have a talk, and me and Molly have a talk, and, we see where we're at. And I'm not saying that she would make the decision, and I would just, do whatever she says, because I ultimately have the say-so here, but it's not off the table. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. And I think that's being gracious on ourselves too. It's kind of like, I don't know, because I feel like if you're like forced and you don't think you have another option, it makes it even like worse. Like you question yourself even more.
Well, and like you said, situations can change at any time. If something happens and I have to get a full-time job or something like that, I don't have the blessing of having, like, you have your mother-in-law who's, home a lot. I think she still works or has like a job, but she still has so much availability that she can do that. Like, I don't have a retired or available mom who can be Nana and be the awesome babysitter and take her to all the things. Like, that would change our circumstances greatly.
Yeah.
So.
And that's where mine comes in. Like, if we move away, we are moving away from all of our support system. And so that is like a huge thing. Like, I have the most help that a lot of people don't have. And so to walk away from that would definitely change some situations.
Yeah, I agree. That's why you'll just have to move closer to me, because I can be that person.
I'm going to start counting how many times you put a plug in that I need to move near you. It's going to be a thing.
Think about it. I have the third row. I can like bus everyone around and do all the things, and it would be so much fun. I'd be like, you go work. I'll just take the kids and it'll be great. And then we can hang out when I drop them off. Your husband would be so sick of me by then.
He would be like my mother-in-law. I talk to my mother-in-law more than he does, like his own mother. It's like, oh my gosh, it would be super great. So I think that about wraps up our whys. Yeah. I think that was good. I think you were more intentional and nicer about the beauty of homeschooling. What can we do?
It's all good. We're raw and relatable.
Oh, just wait. I'm sure we'll get into some more stuff when we get into the nitty-gritty episode.
Yeah.
So
see you in the next one.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you're on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe, follow, leave us some comments if you like what we're talking about. But that's it. That's the end.
Bye.
Bye, guys.